So, welcome to History in Lowell with me, Maritza Grooms, my buddy, Bob Forrant.
Present.
Today we have two special guests. We have Rogers Muyanja and Chris Coe of the International Institute of New England. Welcome, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome back to Rogers.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here.
So today, well, just a recap for our viewers, we've been talking about immigrant history for now 2 years, we've said, right? And we've gone from the late 19th century,
Early
19th century, all the way up until now. And so, why are you guys here today?
Well, yeah, we are here because we are here to tell a story that most people in Lowell are familiar with. It's the story that the International Institute of New England has played a great role in, and that is welcoming newcomers into the city of Lowell. We've done that. I believe I mentioned this the last time I was here. The organization has resettled people since 1918, since our founding in 1918 on John Street. So based off of that, we have an event coming up. We'll be honoring 100 Lowellians who have had an impact on the city of Lowell, as well as the immigrants and refugees in Lowell. This is remarkable because we want to recognize the achievements of immigrants and the community of Lowell who have supported us in this work for the last 100 years. Just to be precise, it's going to be our 101st birthday. Because I'm talking about 100 years, the listeners may think it's 100 years this May, but it's going to be our 101 year. So we, as some of the viewers may have heard, the International Institute of New England is an organization that resettles refugees and asylees and works with immigrants in different capacities. So through our resettlement processes, just like the early let's say 1918, 1920, 25, when we were having newcomers come board ships and come to the United States and were being received at the ports of entry, let's say at the shipyards. Are they called shipyards? When we were having our staff members go pick them up and bring them into the community, get them set up, you know, make sure they have everything they need, make sure they understand how to navigate the community. We are continuously doing that. The only difference is now we are picking them from airports and bringing them into, not boats anymore. So we are picking them from airports and bringing them into the community. So we continuously do that. We resettle them. Once we have resettled them, we assist them with, it depends if the family are coming from a background where English is not a first language, we make sure we enroll them into our English classes. We make sure they secure a social security card because it's important for family members. The adults who are able to work are able to secure a job and they need a social security card. We make sure they are enrolled in the health care because health insurance is a requirement in Massachusetts. We make sure they those who need training or support in preparing for interview opportunities when jobs are available, we do that. These are areas we've worked on since our founding, and we continuously do that. We've taught English from the time we were founded, and we still do that. We've done case management. We've assisted in a lot of ways with clients resettling into the community, understanding the different community resources that are available, and we consistently do that. So recently, and when I say recently, last year, we started the Immigration Forms Services, our Legal Immigration Form Services program, through which we assist community members. This is open to the entire community, including our current clients. So clients as well as community members can access immigration services. That would mean, so it ranges from applying for a work authorization card, applying for a permanent resident card, or applying for citizenship if somebody has been here for the last 5 years. So we consistently do that.
But it's new, but it's also not new, because while digging through the archives, we discovered that we've been doing this. We've done citizenship applications on and off for the last 100 years.
Yes,
so it's
absolutely.
Amazing work. And from what I understand, these are some of the best kept archives in the city.
Yeah. Being a historian, it's been a great experience for me when I've been, this is the second time I've been asked to help the Institute do some sort of a history exhibit. And there are boxes and boxes of these records stored over at the Center for Lowell History. And you can go through them, and the minutes of meetings. I have found the very first meeting when the Institute formed was a YWCA Board of Directors meeting where somebody came from, I think it was Wisconsin, where they had started a similar kind of organization through the YWCA, came and spoke, and the Y took a vote in May of 1918 to start a chapter here of a similar organization of the International Institute of Lowell at the time.
Wow.
And so it's very cool. It's handwritten. And no typewriter, no anything.
No. Wow.
And they got a small budget from the city, and from different authorities in Lowell, and started doing all the same services. And so when you read through the records, there's the continuity is pretty astonishing.
Yeah.
There are some differences. In the 1920s and 30s, for example, the Institute had a summer camp at a lake in Westford. And kids would go in the summer, and we found great photos, which will be part of the exhibit that will be on display at this event on May 1, of kids learning how to swim, and even of their moms learning how to swim.
Wow.
And pictures of them in canoes and rowboats. And so the record keeping was pretty significant, right? I worry now about how little of that gets done, because everything's in a computer and everything's on a phone or whatever. But we've been able to really, over the last several months, working with the records, piece together something pretty cool.
I could use that, because the swimming is a big problem for me.
I know. We should do summer camps again.
Yeah,
so
bring
that's
back
the
the
one
summer
thing
camp.
you guys are not doing. You need to bring that back.
And the other thing that, again, I brought a couple of things from the records as a way to then think about this event and talk more about the event coming up. But in the 1920s, they did events at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, big cultural events, which is where this is going to be. And so these are articles from the very first one that they did in 1925, and the headline in one is, "Workmen transform building into exposition hall for display of rare articles from all over the world, festival tonight and tomorrow night." And they were worrying that they wouldn't have enough space. And they, in the end, after the event, over 5,000 people came over the 2 days.
Wow.
The other thing that's fascinating is how much the leadership of the organization was pretty nearly always women. The local executive directors, a lot of the people, and it's noticeable in these newspaper articles that I have, where the photographs of people planning these, where you can see, they're all female. And so again, it's just it's having this, being able to go and find this stuff for me has been like, wow, this is really cool. Right, and that then when people at the Institute said we're going to do this event at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, they said, okay, this is like, this is crazy, right? The 101th, the 101th. I don't know if that's a word, but anyway, it's going to go back to the scene of where these huge festivals were in the 1920s, 1930s. They even did some in the 50s.
Wow.
So yeah, it's great.
That is so amazing.
So one thing I came across is that the Lowell Memorial Auditorium was actually its construction started, I think, in 1918, or either its construction.
No way.
Yes.
Right around the same time.
So when we were, it was around the same time, and that's why I was like, wow, this is amazing.
It's like meant to be.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow, wow. So we're having this 101st birthday. 101st. There it is. There it is.
100. What did I say? 101. Yeah, college professor. 101. I'm copywriting it.
We're having the 101th birthday, right? Of not just the International Institute, but also Lowell Memorial Auditorium. And I think that's just really awesome. But you're also honoring these 100 people. So you want to tell us just a little bit more about what these 100 people are doing, why they're being honored, and anything else that you can share.
Okay, so about, was it like 5 months ago? I think also October.
Yeah, we started, so the process, around August, between August and October we were putting
So
this
around half a year ago, we put out a call to the community to ask them to nominate people both present and historically, who have contributed to immigrants and refugees in Lowell. And over the course of the 6 months, names have come in, and we've compiled those names together to a final list of 100 because our 100 years. So these names include politicians, leaders in arts or culture, leaders in education, civic leaders. I'm spacing. We had a few categories.
Economic.
Business.
Yeah, Lowell
Businesses.
revitalization.
Yeah.
So a wide range of leaders who have contributed to Lowell and helped Lowell grow. And did you want me to share a few of these names?
And then you had, but also you had a group of community members who then went through the big list.
Yeah, so
So in case anybody's unhappy that they're not on the list, you don't want to take the blame.
diffuse the blame. Yeah, so near the
Blame it on the community. They did it.
near
This
the
is
end of the
Lowell after all.
process, we brought in a lot of community leaders, and I think we called them elders.
Elders, yes.
To look through the list with us, going name by name, to see if they believe that these people contributed enough to be worthy of honoring. And one of those people was Bob, who helped us go through the list.
What?
That
this
is a
guy's
revelation.
contributed to immigrant history? What?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's shameful, but anyway. I did not nominate myself.
I don't know.
No, I did not. I know I did not.
If he even knew, he'd be like, oh, don't do that.
I did not nominate myself.
So what's interesting is how complex it was, because we got a lot of names.
We got
A lot of names.
250 names,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
a lot of names had multiple nominations. Lowell celebrities. Yeah.
Yeah. And now we had to go through selecting 100. Of course, there are others who have done remarkable things, but
It wasn't
wanted
easy
100,
because
yeah.
how do you, like, it's difficult to quantify how much you've contributed to Lowell.
Yeah,
Of course.
And like everyone contributes in their own way.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Just for participating. You showed up. You live in Lowell.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You've contributed to the fabric that is Lowell.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But so I know that most of the 100 don't know yet, right? Is that correct?
No, we're contacting them this week,
Yeah, you're in
sending
the process of
mail and calling them.
But there might be a few who may already be aware.
Yeah, so a few of these names include Maria Cunha, who a lot of Lowellians might recognize. She works at Middlesex Community College, but she was also a former staff member of the International Institute, and she's done a lot for Lowell in general. Another name is Hugh Comiskey, who I'm blanking on right now, but there's a road named after him. I think he helped with a lot of Irish.
Right, so Kaminsky
Yeah.
is here in the 1820s,
1820s.
and he becomes one of the key people that recruits lots of Irish laborers who are living in and around Greater Boston to come to Lowell to dig the canals and build the mill building. So he's really he's a pretty important figure for Irish immigration and for actually the construction of the city. And people are now beginning actually to work on a celebration for him because it's, I don't know, it's 150 years since he was born or 125 years or something.
Wow.
I forget the details. I should know since I was at one of the planning meetings. but people are planning to do a big thing about him that would be associated with the acre and the acre area. So Kaminsky's right up off Merrimack. There's Kaminsky Way. So yep, that's Hugh Kaminsky.
Yeah. Some of the more contemporary names include Adriana Giraldo, who works at Abbassy, and she's helped a lot of our students and students there with coordinating and helping them find jobs and get the best classes. Support and classes that they need. Another contemporary name is Savannah from CMAA, Cambodia Mutual. You know Savannah?
I know all of these people. I'm a fan of everyone.
Yeah, Lowell has a lot of great people. So but yeah, Savannah's another name. We haven't contacted him yet, so if he's watching this, congratulations.
Surprise!
Surprise! Oh, I have this list. But yeah, there's a lot of exciting people, so if you want to find out more, you should come to our event.
And I can add that actually what is interesting is we wanted to make sure it's a reflection of it's cross-generational, because instead of having a particular group, we wanted to, because there are a lot of people that are contributing to a Lowell right now, young people. We have a lot of people that have continuously contributed to Lowell, but we have people that have passed away, that have actually, when you look at Lowell, when you read about Lowell, their names are constantly coming up. We want to make sure that that too is so we tried to look at all the timeline includes from way back to currently. So that's why you see leaders like Savannah come up, or Adriana, who are very recent, but they are doing remarkable work.
Yes,
and it doesn't mean there are other people who are not. Actually, a lot of people are doing a lot of work. But you know, when nominations were shared, the community was invited to. So all the names we had are the names we tried. And we had to consolidate a list of 100 names. Right. So putting that list together meant having to definitely get off some people off the list who could have, or who may also have contributed, but because we want to consolidate a list to 100, we want to make sure we solidify it. And that's why we brought in the group of elders to, nail it down and say, they have, but this one, we can put this one on the list. Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that you only got 250, considering Lowell's history and considering that we really ultimately are an immigrant city. Absolutely. And there's so many fantastic people from all different backgrounds and all walks of life who have really made the city what it is today, and who are continuously making those efforts to make it a better place and more livable and sustainable for immigrants and refugees. So that's pretty incredible that you only got the 250 names.
So we did not want to create the list. We wanted the community to come in, and in part it's so whatever we got is so.
I'm kind of grateful for that, though. There's a lot of digging that we had to do.
I know, that would have been a lot of work.
And then people are trying to then write little mini biographies of all of them for the program that will be at the event. And so if it was 200, if we were honoring 200 or whatever, it would be a heck of a lot more work.
Yes. You'd have a whole booklet.
So I think at one point somebody asked me about being on that group, and I said, no, I don't want to be. It just seemed like it would be a really difficult, right? Who do you put in? Who do you take out? How do you make those sorts of, and again, be reflective of diversity in the city, as you said, be reflective of men and women. The fact that the Institute started at the YWCA, Young Women's Christian Association, is partly why I think a lot of the leadership were female, but when histories like this usually get written, they get left out. So people wanted to be really conscious of actually remembering that. So Dale Linda Mello, who's a person that worked at the Institute for over 40 years, I know she's on the list. She's there, I know. I know the whole list. I'm not, but I cannot be kidnapped and revealed. I will not tell.
Find Bob in the streets.
But I know, that's a good example of somebody who, had been, starting in the 1930s, was working as a volunteer teaching English.
Wow.
And worked right up through to the 1970s as the executive director. So the character of the organization, and I've been working, I was actually this morning before I came over, for the program booklet I was asked to write like a 450-word introduction to the booklet, A History of the Institute in Lowell, and I thought, how am I going to do this in 450 words?
I could write you a 20-page paper.
So I have it down now to 587. But, so I still have a little bit of trimming to do. But it was just fascinating to again look and see what's happening in 1918, what's happening in 2018, 2019, and the sort of services that are being provided. The difference is the places in the world, right, which we've talked about a lot on the program, that immigration and or refugees and asylees coming in today are coming from decidedly different places in the world than the first immigrants and immigrants that are coming into Lowell in the late 19th, early 20th century are. But when you look at what's being offered and provided, there really aren't a lot of differences in terms of the services. They're slightly different. Like just now, for example, in terms of employment, I know the Institute just did a nursing assistance program, right? Because there's health, that's where the jobs are, as opposed to getting people ready in 1915 to go work at the boot mill or the Merrimack Mill or the Hamilton Mill. Now it's to go to work at Lowell General or at one of the nursing homes or senior centers or someplace like that, or Lowell Community Health Center, right? Those are the places that are hiring recent arrivals, and so the training's different, which makes sense, right? You wouldn't want to be training people to work in a textile mill in Lowell when there really aren't practically any of those jobs left. So I think that's been the fascinating thing for me as a historian, just sort of looking at I've been blessed in a way because of the records to be able to look at 100 years of an institution, which as historians we don't usually get such a complete run, to be able to look at who the people were, why it got started, how it's been funded, sort of what have been the challenges at different junctures in time. And so, do you have more info about the event? What's going to happen when people go there?
So,
do you know? You know, you must know.
So, so first, I want to just speak a little bit about the CNA program. So we thought, when the reason we created that is we realized there are a lot of English learners who come into the country. They're interested. There are employment opportunities that are available within the healthcare field. But getting into the healthcare field when they're learning English is complicated. Makes it very difficult for them to get in. So what they decide to do is give up. Or so what the International Institute did is, along with a few partnerships with community organizations, Middlesex Community College, Deweyville, ABC Lowell Public Schools. So these came together and designed a program, a CNA program that is contextualized for English learners. So, and it's open to all, immigrants, refugees, people who are born and raised here, who are just English learners, have the opportunity to pursue a career in the health field. Somebody can start off as a CNA while they continue to work on their English and while they continue to understand the vocabulary pertaining to this specific area. They have the opportunity to pursue other opportunities within this field, maybe eventually becoming a nurse or eventually becoming a medical professional.
Providing opportunities for upward mobility.
Absolutely. So this, we had our graduation last week on Thursday, our very first.
That's so exciting.
It is exciting. Now the show. Bob is going to give us an opportunity to look at what this timeline has actually been. So everyone coming to this event expect to see what the different stages of resettlement have been, what different groups have resettled.
So we'll have, I think, 11 panels, large, they're like bigger than humans. Giant panels with different historical themes. So there's education, immigration, children throughout the history of the Institute. There's a one that looks at the city of Lowell as a whole, like how it's changed. So there'll be a lot of different panels in the reception area for people to look at. So it'll kind of be like a museum exhibit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How long do folks have to peruse that? Because I can see someone like myself just wanting to stay there for a while.
You have the whole time because it will be up for the entirety of the event.
Entirety of the event.
Great.
So the event starts at 6 p.m. We shall have food. We've engaged different community groups from different backgrounds in Lowell who are going to serve foods from different backgrounds.
Which is exactly, again, the way these were.
Yeah.
There were food booths at these that represented all the different immigrant communities in the city at the time. So it's very cool that this is recreating that very sort of atmosphere.
Absolutely.
So cool.
So we will have food. We are planning to have some activities, some cultural performances. And Bob may tell us more about the exhibit at some point. I don't know if he wants to reveal that. I don't know. But we'll have. So we'll have the first hour is going to be people coming in, taking the opportunity to look at the exhibit, enjoy some food,
the Living 100 will be there.
The Living, yes, the Living 100 will be there. Absolutely. So. People will have the opportunity to meet these incredible individuals. We are hoping that the event can go on up to 9 p.m. And we are doing our best to put activities together. I hope we have an opportunity of coming back at some point before the event to talk about what that will actually exactly look like. If we do, we'd be more than happy to share that. But we are putting together, we want to have as many activities as possible, as engaging as possible, to make sure it's a very interesting time for everyone who is going to be coming to this event.
We're also trying to limit the speaking portion to just 30 minutes, so it's more interactive.
Yes. Oh,
interactive.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I just want to have fun.
It's
and
a party.
Yes,
it's a party.
Going back to our partying roots.
Yes. Yes.
How can people buy tickets?
So since this week tickets are open, what happens is you go onto our website, which is iine.org, iine.org/100. Numbers 100. We have tickets, individual tickets. Those are going for $100 a ticket, and that is. It represents the years.
Yes.
100. So we wanted to.
Good thing it's not 250.
Probably if we get to 250
years. Sorry.
You never know with the technology, Bob.
Absolutely.
Maybe a hologram of me, but
a lot of innovations are coming up. You can't tell. So what you do is we are also inviting community partners, community organizations, businesses who are interested in supporting the event to utilize this opportunity. We've created a packet. We'll have a booklet that will have all the supporters, but also have information, including the nominees in the booklet. So we want to make sure all this information is covered.
Gentlemen, it is that time. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I know I'm looking forward to May 1st and the 101th birthday party for the International Institute, and I hope all our viewers will consider buying a ticket. Thank you for tuning in to History in Lowell. Thank you. You guys are awesome. This is going to be such a fun time.